Hi, I'm Tim. I'm Alex's husband. And yeah, over the last 10, 12 months, you've been watching the videos that Alex had posted about her journey with cancer. Um, and yeah, probably a couple of months ago, Alex and I were talking about me making a video as to what it's like from the partner side in the relationship. And to be honest, it's taken me kind of this long to get around to it, Christmas and everything else in between. Um, but actually, it's trying to find the words, it's trying to find how you talk about it, particularly putting it onto a video and posting it on social media. It's not something I'm overly familiar with, um, but also when you look at it, the fact of Alex has done it with no hair, and probably at a most challenging point in her life, it felt really that it was time to get on with it, man up and do it. Um, so yeah, I don't really know where to start other than I guess kind of looking back from the beginning. When we'd found out um, Alex had cancer, it was a fairly tough thing to hear. Um, Alex had kind of discovered the lump back in March when she was away training with work and came back and was fairly upset about it, but also fairly adamant that she knew what it was. And you try and put a brave face on it. Well, it might be 101 other things, but I think deep down Alex knew exactly what it was, and thankfully went to the doctors straight away to explain what she'd found. The doctors thankfully, acted fairly quickly on that. So we were, up at the hospital within a couple of weeks. Met with a consultant, and yeah, we're kind of told within a week of having the scans. It was quite odd actually during the scans that one lady um, had almost reassured us of there's nothing, there's nothing to worry about there in that scan. We came out of that scan and walked into kind of a private patient's room where Alex kind of changed at that point. She knew why we were going in that room, although they didn't say anything at that time. We were one of the support team came in along with the consultant and said, we'll check the results out and we'll see you again here next week. And we walked out from that saying, Alex was even more adamant at that point that, yeah, it's cancer. We need to start getting ready for that. Um, and then, yeah, we were diagnosed kind of a week later. Um, and that was really hard. That was really hard to, I wanted to phone people and let kind of the family know, and that was probably the first time I've cried to my mum. Um, and yeah, phoned mum and dad, and I guess just released all the emotions that had been pent up for a month. Um, but also scary. You don't really know what lies ahead, what journey you've got. There was lots of talk with the consultants of operations and chemotherapy and radiotherapy and the what ifs. What if things don't go well? What if it is bigger than they suspected? What if it had spread anywhere else? We were fortunate that we have kind of private medical insurance, and things happened very very quickly. So in some ways that was fantastic that you were able just to kind of get on a ride and you were taken along for a ride, really. That, Alex and I very quickly had made that decision that we were just going to go with the guidance of the consultants. They're the experts in the field. We'd have an emotional decision to most things, but actually, if the consultants felt it were right, then we were quite happy just to go along, turn up, and be wherever we needed to be. Um, we have, a couple of young girls and a teenage son as well. Um, so there was that aspect of trying to deal with how the hell you tell the girls. Morgan, bless him, our 15-year-old son, took it really, really well. Um, he's much more able to understand, and you can have an educated conversation with him. But the girls was much more difficult. At the time, Bella was under 2. Lauren was just coming up 4 when we'd found out. And very quickly, Alex was going to be having operations and having the breast removal. And then we were going away on holiday, but obviously Alex had just had the operation, so I couldn't really do much. So yeah, a lot happened within that first couple of months, and I think it was good that it happened so quickly. But things changed. Things changed really quickly. Alex went from her normal kind of bubbly self, having found the lump, quite rightly had a fairly good period of falling off the wagon a bit, and that's normal and that's okay. And for Alex and I, there was some conflict about it, that nothing really had changed for me emotionally. You're then kind of preparing yourself for a journey, but Alex had already started it, and Alex was the one that was doing it. She was the one that had cancer. And I think Alex had posted, about her diet kind of early on was fairly kind of based around Prosecco and Mars bars, and that's fine. And that is something that we learned to kind of accept. And I found that difficult early on, that actually, we've still got kids, and, I've still got to go to work, and we're still mum and dad, and we're still, Tim and Alex and everything. But in reality, your whole world's turned upside down, and how do you cope with that? And I think that's been a learning curve I think that's been something that Alex and I have dealt with fairly well over the year, that, shit does happen, and you've just got to deal with it. You can't blame, you can't sit back and resent one person feeling something and another person not feeling that, and one person reacting in a particular way that you don't like. And I think that's probably a journey that Alex and I have really benefited from over the last 10-12 months, that sometimes it's not just about the relationship side. It is about providing that support and being there and being whatever's needed at the time. We've had so many different experiences over this 10-12 months, and going back on the contact that we've had with people, off the back of the videos, off the back of the news that Alex had got cancer, and as you bump into people, as life often happens where you might not see people for 6 months, and then the next time you see them, Alex has got no hair, no breast, had surgery, looks like she's doing chemotherapy, and sometimes you kind of feel guilty that crap, I didn't tell you and you found out this way, but actually you can't tell everyone. And for the best part, most people have found out and been in contact and made contact. It's been quite interesting, actually, the people that we haven't heard from a great deal. But for the most part, everybody has been amazing. We've had so much contact from people. I've had contact from people that I haven't spoken to since school, people that I used to work with years and years ago. And that's been amazing. That's been a really humbling part of this journey, that people really care. And I've felt humbled by it, that I don't think I'm particularly good at kind of keeping in contact with people that I haven't spoken to in years. And this journey's been a really good lesson, that actually, 20 years might have passed, but people still really care. And that's been amazing. And I'm really thankful for that. And, at the time when those people have been in contact, there were kind of the great ideas that, we've established contact, this is fantastic, and, I need to make an effort and be in contact with people. And life just happens again, and, all of a sudden it's January 2019, and Alex is 6 weeks out of chemo, and we're starting the last journey. And life's busy at the best of times. And I think trying to squeeze all of this journey in as well, I don't think has made it any more or less stressful. I just think it's made it a different path than we thought we were going to be going on in January 2018. We were saying on New Year's Eve that you wouldn't have predicted that. And it's been a crazy bloody year. but I think Alex and I have become much closer. I think we've become much better in a partnership. I don't think the girls have been impacted too much. I think Lauren has found it quite a stressful journey. She talks a lot about, she's very close to mum, to Alex, and is quite sensitive to the fact that if Alex isn't there, then she gets a bit worried about that, and that's something that we all need to deal with, because it's not that long until Alex goes away to India. Thank you for your support on that. Lots of people have sponsored and contributed to that, and that's been amazing. The trip is booked, so she goes in 5 weeks, I think, and we'll be away for a month. So I think that's going to be a different experience for myself and the girls. Morgan, who doesn't live with us, lives with his mum, is going to hopefully spend a bit of time with us as well. So that'd be quite nice for the girls. It'd be great for me. But also, to add some complication to that, we're going through the process of buying a house. So that looks as though it's going to happen sooner rather than later. The people that are selling the property want to get it done as quickly as they possibly can, and want to complete within a month, and or want to exchange within a month, and then complete a few weeks later, which then takes us right up to I think it's the week before Alex goes. So there was some talk of trying to move in before Alex went, but I think in reality we need to just slow down a bit, and we're probably in a position where we will have to stay here, sort the house out while Alex is away, and then when Alex comes back, move in. And I think that'll be a really nice way to start the journey of Alex has done all of the treatment, had the surgery, done the chemo, done the radiotherapy, and then gone to India, gone through that treatment, come back, move in, new house, new start. And I'm really looking forward to that. I think that'll be a really good point. And then it's all just positive steps moving forward from there. There will be at some point a reconstructive surgery, but they're kind of positive steps forward. And yeah, looking at the time, I was a bit worried that we wouldn't necessarily have too much to talk about, but somehow we've managed to fill 10 minutes or so. But yeah, I think from my side, it's been crazy. It's been a crazy year. I guess some of the things that I've had to deal with, Alex's appearance obviously has changed an awful lot. But really, Alex and I just tend to make each other laugh quite a lot. We tend to be stupid. We tend to be fairly silly most of the time. And that hasn't really changed. I think there were some of the posts when we were on the way to chemo kind of explained roughly where Alex and I are. And that hasn't really changed. Alex, for the best part, has done amazingly with the treatment that she's had with chemo. She's felt fairly down for the first week after each of the chemos, and then in the latter stages where she was having chemo every 14 days, it's fairly difficult to get to a high point in that, because it just felt rubbish most of the time. I think having the girls has helped, possibly, if you can call it that. That Alex has just had to cope, and I think she's been amazing at coping with feeling rubbish. She hasn't let on to me just how deep that feeling rubbish has been. There's been the odd day when you could just see she really wasn't well, and there were kind of sofa days, bed days where, you know what, just go to bed. You don't need to be up. You don't look like you can be up. And yeah, I think she's just not really shown how deep or how ill she's felt. And that's really brave of her. And I think she's kind of taken on the responsibility of she's got to show the girls that she's all right. Because again, Lauren's been so sensitive to it. And radiotherapy is a bit of a new journey. It's kind of an unknown quantity, really. Had 3 sessions now, two sessions. Yesterday felt really tired, but again, it's just kind of handling it, dealing with it, and moving on. One of the things that has happened kind of over this 10 or 10 months, that when you're talking to people, people will kind of open their conversation, usually over a pint or over a phone call or whatever, where people are like, yeah, I'm a bit frustrated with this, or, I've got these problems. This is going on and it's really stressful. Nothing compares to your situation, Tim, or your situation, Alex. Obviously that's much more stressful. And I think, from my part, I've had conversations with each of them to say, well, look, do you know what? Your problems are still stressful, and that's all right. Your problems are your problems. You don't have cancer, or you're not going through cancer, and that's fine. You can't. I didn't want people to compare their problems with ours, because life is stressful. Everybody has their own stresses, and for that person, it's a really important part of it. So I was really mindful that people didn't feel worried or ashamed about stressing about their own problems when compared to ours, because they're still important to them. So we were still able to help people through their own stresses, and people we're kind of mindful of the fact that we've got things going on, and I didn't really want people to be apologetic for it. I'm not sure that that's coming across particularly clearly, but we'll move on. So yeah, it's been a crazy journey. It's been a long 10 months, and I think for the best part, we can see positives in it. I think that we can see where we've kind of changed and got better. There are things that I wish we didn't have to go through, but I'm amazed at how Alex has just kind of soldiered on with it. Really, she's just accepted any of the treatments, and there's an awful lot of drugs and stabs and needles and treatment and support and appointments and things that you need to go to and attend and talk about, and you don't really think about that when you talking about the breast cancer side, that I think it all just happens. And there's been so many things that Alex has had done, and treatments and tests that you wouldn't want to have to go through again. And it's been amazing to kind of sit with her, watch her go through it, and watch her just front it. Of come on, let's get that done. We'll do it as soon as we can. And hasn't really shown any fear of it. Hasn't really shown any kind of trepidation about it, other than on the days. Chemo days was always a day that we both knew, emotionally, Alex was a bit more stressed than she may normally be before going to chemo. And the chemo nurses were always kind of very aware that it's chemo day, and give Alex an hour and she'll be a bit more chipper. But right now she's just bloody grumpy, and that's all right. And again, we had a really good team that we were able to have quite a good bond with at the Genesis Centre over at Kings Hill. So they've looked after her really well. So it's been quite interesting just really to review the year and what we've gone through, and maybe I can do another one of these when we're near the end of the journey, and perhaps when Alex is going to India. I don't really know. I guess for me it's been quite nice just to talk about it and get it off my chest, I suppose. We shall see. Maybe I'll see you again. Cheers.